Hello students, I hope that you are all well and healthy. For today's lesson, go to our school website for e-learning and scroll down to topic 5. Here you have the presentation I made for you, and now let's go through it together. Before we start with the new lesson, I would like you first to answer me some questions. First of all, did your mom used to take you to school every day? Did you used to like going to school? Did you used to hate having school lunches? Did you go on school trip to London? As you can guess from your answers, we will talk about typical behavior and habits. So, to talk about someone's habits and typical behavior, we can use the present simple or past simple to talk about repeated present or past action or states. As in example, when I get home, I do my homework and then practice the violin. My grandfather picked me up from school every day. When we use used to plus infinitive, we are talking about states, as in example with the verbs like be, have, believe, and like, or actions that happened regularly in past but are no longer happening in the present. We do not use this structure to talk about single past actions. When I was your age, I used to be very eager to learn. I didn't used to fall behind with my schoolwork. Did you used to like chemistry? Moving on, so we use would plus infinitive to talk about past actions or behavior typical for someone, but not states. Our math teacher would give us lots of homework. On the next slide, we are using will plus infinitive to talk about present actions or typical behavior, but again, not state. She will watch TV or play games all day instead of studying for her exam. So please note that we do not use the verbs will and would in this meaning in questions. And when you want to complain about someone's behavior, you will use present continuous or past continuous with the adverb always. Like in example, she's always putting things off and is never on time. And in the example, my neighbors were always complaining about the noise. Now I would like you to open your books Focus 4 on page 14 and to read a text about Gillian Linnet, The Right Education, and please focus on structure used to talk about her past habits and typical behaviors. Ken Robinson is an educationalist. In his book, The Element, he interviews people who have made a successful living doing what they love. This is Gillian Linnet's story. Gillian has had a successful career in the theater, but life didn't used to be so good. When she was 8, her schoolwork was a disaster. Her handwriting was awful, and she used to fail all her exams. Her teachers would complain about her disruptive behavior, and she was always fidgeting and handing in her homework late. They told her mother that she had a learning disorder, so Gillian's mother took her to see a psychologist and listed some of the problems. She never pays attention in class. She would get up and move around instead of listening to the teacher. She was always disturbing people, and her schoolwork's always late. Finally, the doctor turned to Gillian and said, "Gillian, I need to speak to your mother privately now. Don't worry, we won't be long." As they left the room, she turned on the radio on his desk. So, what do you think she did when her mom and the psychologist left the room? Okay, now we are going to listen to two friends talking about Jillian's story and check your ideas.
CD1, track 13.
What are you reading?
Oh, this? It's a book about people who become successful because they do what they love doing.
Oh, that sounds good. What sort of thing?
Well, I'm just reading about a famous ballet dancer called Gillian Lynn. When she was a little girl, her teachers at school complained that she didn't pay attention and was always fidgeting and disturbing her classmates. So her mother arranged for her to see a psychologist to find out what her problem was.
Oh, right.
Anyway, the psychologist talked to the girl's mother, and then he put some music on the radio and left Gillian on her own in his office. He told the mother to watch Gillian through a window, and as soon as they left the room, the little girl got up and started dancing.
Ah, that's so clever.
I know. The psychologist realised that Gillian didn't have a problem. She just had a gift for dancing.
So what did the mother do?
She sent her daughter to a dance school, and Gillian ended up being a famous ballet dancer and choreographer.
Wow, that's a great story.
Are you surprised? Okay, send me your ideas of what lessons this story teaches us about educating children. After you do that, you have a homework to do. Here I attached you a video, and after you finished watching the video, you are going to write the sentences from the video which shows present and past habits. So focus.
Hello! Welcome back to our series of interviews with famous people where we find out what kind of student they were in their school days. Today, I'm meeting the well-known cartoonist Max Antony. Hi, Max! Thanks for inviting us to your studio today.
You're welcome. Come in.
What a lovely, tidy studio. Did you used to be as well organised when you were at school?
No, I used to be very messy. I used to share a bedroom with my older sister, who was super tidy. She would nag me about the mess every day, and she was always making fun of my drawings. Now, she thinks my cartoons are clever and funny. In fact, she's my manager.
Oh, that's a lovely story. So, what did your teachers think of you? Did you used to behave well in class, or did you used to be the class clown?
No, I used to be quiet in class, but I'd get terribly bored. So, to keep myself amused, I'd draw cartoons during lessons.
What did the teachers think about that?
Sometimes the teachers would notice, and they'd threaten to take away my pencils. They were always sending me to the head teacher's office. One day, the school called my parents.
Max is a bright student, but he's always getting distracted. Instead of paying attention in class, he'll draw pictures all over his exercise books.
I'm afraid Max takes after his father, head teacher. But thank you for calling. I'll tell Max to pay attention in class.
Ah, so your father's an artist too. That's where you get your talent from. Thanks for talking to us, Max Antony.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay, now that we have heard about Max's past habits, I want you to write some sentences comparing your routine in primary school and now. So, what has changed? In primary school for breakfast, let's say, what would you have? Before setting off for school, what would you do? At the break time and lunchtime, after school, and here I put it some hint for you. And in the first sentence, you can say for breakfast I would have cereal with milk in primary school, but now I will just have a piece of toast. So do this for all the other examples, and that would be all for today. Thank you for your attention and see you tomorrow.